Hello and welcome. I'm your host, author Ryan M. Oliver, and this is the Mighty Books Podcast. This episode's featured author is BJ Stromme. BJ grew up in Montana and has a deep love for being outside in nature. She's a mother of two, an entrepreneur at heart, and has spent over 40 years in business. She's built two businesses, training entrepreneurs, raising up leaders, and coaching business owners from a variety of industries. She has the privilege of living off-grid in beautiful Southeast Alaska and hosts yearly retreats to train and bless dedicated entrepreneurs. In her first business career, BJ was in the banking world for over 10 years, learning the importance of understanding personalities and communication styles. As she developed her own business, she was introduced to all the personality profiling programs, gaining more knowledge, but like most people, the programs were hard to remember. It wasn't until her daughter started taking bird ID classes in college that she began to see the natural correlation between people and specific bird groups. They had a wonderful time creating a program that makes sense, uses natural information, and helps people communicate better. BJ loves helping others gain a deeper understanding of themselves, the people around them, and learn how to make the shift to speaking all four languages for smoother, happier, and more prosperous results. Her book, Are You My Flock, is designed to help you to understand others and get more yes results in life. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Mighty Books Podcast. Today with me, we have BJ Stromme. BJ, how you doing?
I am doing great, Ryan. It's so nice to be here.
So today we're here to talk about your book. What is the title of your book?
It is titled, Are You My Flock?
And can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. Are You My Flock is actually about birds, but not about birds. It is a personality profiling book made super easy, super relatable, and super effective. So you don't have to try and remember numbers, letters, gems, colors. You just have to work with birds that you see every single day.
So what exactly inspired you to write a book on personality tests?
If you are an entrepreneur or you're in any kind of business where you're responsible for your own marketing and your client attraction, you have to learn how to work with different varieties of people, different personalities for your sales, for your success. So I've spent 42 years as an entrepreneur and a lot of different tests, a lot of different programs, because I wanted to be my best. I wanted to be an excellent, customer service rep. I wanted to be an excellent leader. I wanted to be an excellent consultant. And so I put time and energy into it. And this is one of the things that has come out of all that.
Awesome. So it's a good tool that helps you with all of your business ventures and social ventures too, I imagine too.
Of course. I mean, really, people are our business, right, Ryan?
Yes.
It's not about our money, and it's not about a product, a service, a program.
Yep.
It's about people. They're the ones that give you the check, the cash, the card. So if you don't know how to read people and adjust to their personality and speak in a language that they can hear you and they let down that wall, you are just cutting yourself off from success.
Ain't that the truth? I know one of the biggest problems I've seen with managers and folks in general is their lack of communication skills. It's amazing when you find someone who actually can communicate effectively and can, adjust accordingly on the fly. See how I did that?
See, there you go.
It just makes a world of difference. Life's better, morale's better, work gets done faster, which I am always appreciative of. So I got to ask, why birds? Why not like
everybody elephants
or elephants or dogs or puffy clouds or something? Why birds?
Let me ask you this, Ryan.
Sure.
If I were to say to you, oh, she's a songbird, what three words come to your mind?
Musical, maybe energetic, positive, perhaps.
Perfect.
Okay.
I didn't even have to explain it, did I?
No.
So if I said to you, you went to a networking event and I said, hey, Ryan, that man over there, that gentleman over there by the wall, he's a raptor. What would you think?
Probably a little more on the aggressive side. Maybe not less physically aggressive, but maybe communicatively aggressive. Maybe a a stickler for details, maybe a bit of a, I'm trying to think, maybe a perfectionist, perhaps.
See
Oh, look at that.
how easy that is? And if
Look
I said to
at
you,
that.
that woman is a dove, what
Okay.
would you think?
A dove. Uh, Pretty, probably. I don't know. That would be, hmm. There, when I think of doves, the color white, kind of like innocent, honestly. So maybe more attached to their feelings, perhaps. Someone who's a little more emotionally connected. So I would think that they are a little more nurturing, for friends, family, that, human race
See,
kind of thing. Look at
that's why
that.
birds. You
I like it.
already have that language in your mind. We've all been
Mhm.
raised around birds. So I started bird watching with my daughter in college
Mhm.
years ago. And I realized, oh my word, all of these personality profile tests that everybody takes, DISC, anagram, bank code, GEMS, Myers-Briggs, I mean, even
Mhm.
the strengths finder, we take all of these. Nobody regularly can remember it all.
No.
If somebody walks up to you and says, I'm an INTJ, you'd be like, oh, that's lovely. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Unless you studied it and you teach it, you can't remember and use it. Birds are everyday language. They're
Mhm.
already in our mind. And when you start to think about that bird, you think about their characteristics, how they function, whether they're relationship driven, like you
Mhm.
said with doves, nurturer,
Mhm.
relationship driven. You just automatically think that because you see doves together.
Yeah.
You see two of them or three of them. They release them at weddings. I mean, they are the symbol of love,
Right. That's very true. Very true.
right? So
Yeah.
that's why I use birds because everybody knows it. It's easy, it's relatable, and it's usable.
I like it. So I know with a lot of personality tests, you can be like one of, half of one, a quarter of another, and a quarter of another. Does that kind of relate with the birds also? I mean, can you be like, I'm half dove and half heron. My dad was a heron, my mother was a dove. I mean, I don't know. You
Yeah,
know what I'm talking about? Like, we got some
but
interesting.
it doesn't quite work like that. Everybody's born with like one core personality.
Okay.
As we mature, we develop characteristics from other quadrants or personalities to survive. So
Yes.
if you are a dove and you're born into a home with let's say, a raptor father who's really powerful, driven, focused, strong, got that real strong personality,
Hmm.
and maybe the mother is a songbird,
Hmm.
light, fluffy, all over the place, right? You're going to develop some characteristics to be able to function in that personality, in that environment.
Right.
Same thing as we grow up. Let's say you're a songbird, light, fun, you love adventure, you are not necessarily attracted to details. I mean, if you think of a songbird, right? Your tree gets filled with all these little birds and they're colorful and they're talking and they're here 1 second and whoosh, they're gone another, right?
Right.
They're not the personality that would love to sit down at the computer and put data in or work on charts, right? But if that's the first job they get out of high school is bookkeeping and they need the job, they're going to develop those characteristics. So you have one core personality that you really were born with.
Okay.
And then you usually have another stronger second one that you've developed because of the environment you've been in, the circumstances you've been in, the jobs and the personalities around you.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
does that answer your question?
I think so. So you're basically born with an innate, instinctual bird,
Yep.
type, and then eventually, because we adapt. Humans, we
Mm-hmm.
adapt. Animals, we adapt. You learn how to survive and manage in a variety of situations.
Right.
Okay, so that's secondary. So basically, you can look through and go, well, I have a lot of characteristics. Let's just say a songbird, for instance, but man, I really do a lot of things like a heron as well. You can kind of decipher on your own which one you're instinctually, and then the other one where you're like a secondary characteristic.
Yes, there's a test in the book. There's
Yes.
an actual quiz in the book that you can take, and it will help you. And there are several ways to take this quiz because when you think about it, if you are in the mindset of work, let's say you're at work and you sit down to take this test, you're in the work mode. So whatever your work normally requires of you, that's how it's going to show up on your quiz.
Mm-hmm.
So if your work requires you to be either a leader or very nurturing or very detail minded, it's going to show up stronger in that category.
Interesting.
If you take the test, you step back, close your eyes, you just relax for a little bit, and you say, you know what? Let me emotionally put myself in a super relaxed, happy place. Let me go to my happy place in my mind, right? And then take the test. You will discover more of your core personality.
And I'm sure it's all detailed and, how you should approach the test and everything in the book as well.
Yes.
I guess we kind of already talked about, breaking down the four personality types, but did I pretty much hit on the head with the three different
You
words?
did. I didn't mention Heron, but you did. So
Okay,
there
yeah,
are four. Yeah, there's four basic personalities, and they match all of the other personality profile testing out there. You've got a leader, you have a social person, you have a nurturer, and you have a detailed person.
Okay.
Those are the same four basic flocks or basic categories that almost everything breaks down into.
Right.
So even in Strengths Finders, when you look at someone says, well, there I'm a connector or I'm a nurturer. Okay, take your quiz. I bet you're going to have some pretty heavy dove characteristics. So it makes it a little bit easier for you to see who you are. And the most important thing that I really try to stress is most of us kind of know who we are. We know our characteristics, we know our personality. However, learning to speak authentically, lovingly, effectively, the language of someone else takes a little practice. Sure and does. You have to be willing to learn it. You can't do it manipulatively, because I promise you it'll come back and bite you in the butt.
Yeah, that's usually karma's doing there. That's definitely a thing. So just to surmise real fast for those who can't, who haven't picked up the book yet, the four birds, raptor, heron, songbird, and dove. And that it's a very, very, I've just popped it up here just to refer to it, but it looks very, very simple. It's columns with words, and then you associate which one is more to your personality. You just go from there, which is awesome. And then it goes into detail of more, breaks down that particular bird and what their strengths and weaknesses are.
Yes, because as you understand, let's say I call them strengths and challenges, because if you are working with, let's say, a raptor and you're not a raptor, the raptor may come across as really bold, a little aggressive, overbearing. You might feel run over, particularly if you are a heron or a dove. And when you understand that this is just how they think, this is how they process information, this is how they speak, you are better equipped to let things go, to brush it off your shoulders and not take things personally that are not about you. They're just the way that person functions. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean you can't have boundaries, and you should have good boundaries, but the book really goes into detail on how can I understand someone else? How can I speak their language? How can I learn to bring out the best in them? These are the strengths they have.
Right.
How do I need to edify them so they feel valued and seen and heard? And how do I let go of some of the things that are triggers for me that are really honestly not about me? And then you function so much easier. It takes so much stress off your shoulders. You find ways to bring out the best in them. You hire correctly. So, I mean, this is a huge thing for anyone in HR.
Yeah.
If you understand how to ask the right questions when you are hiring, or you're recruiting for team members, or you're working with somebody you want to help advance in your company.
Right.
When you know what questions to ask, what's important to them, and how to bring out the best in them, you're going to have a better team. You're going to have more productivity. You're going to have a better office and team culture. People are going to love what they do because they're doing things that are natural for them, that they really enjoy. Right. And they're being recognized for it. What's not to like about that?
Exactly. That's something to strive for. I would definitely love to say, because I've come from several different backgrounds, and there have been situations, environments where it has been just like you've experienced, where you just explained. And there have been ones that are completely opposite of that, where no one listens to anybody. Everyone's trying to take charge or not taking ownership of anything. And it is a terrible situation.
Chaos.
Yeah, it is chaos. It's utter chaos. It's a soup sandwich.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, it's not good. It's very top down. What I've noticed is the managers, the leaders, if they are aggressive, if they are to the point, maybe a little bit blunt but they know how to navigate those who are a little on, I would say, soft-hearted, much easier to deal with. Then you got those who are completely oblivious, and it doesn't matter if you've got these nurturing people who are very strong, resilient. They can only handle what they can handle down at their level. They can't push up. It's just not, they're not there yet. And it's very hard to do that in a team. So especially the team, you can't have one bullying the other one. They all have to work together.
Right. And you've got certain personalities that will not fight for pretty much anything. You have to understand that in your team, if you have doves have to be pushed to the wall. And when they're pushed to the wall, they'll blow. Mm-hmm. And when they blow, then 3 seconds later, they're sorry. And then they go back into this overgiving pattern. They don't like change. They don't like conflict. They're going to avoid it. So if you've got that personality in your team or your office, or even in your family, recognizing that, bringing out the best in them and helping them be in an environment that's good is really important. They're the one flock that gets abused or overrun the most.
Can, like, for instance, like you have the I can't call them the victim, the one who is more or less, doesn't stand up for themselves as much. It really takes a lot of effort to stand up for themselves. Are the other three similar to that, or have tendencies, or they'll
not at all?
With the fight or flight, they're definitely fight.
Well, they're different. If you think about the birds, this is what makes it so easy. If you think about a raptor, how many do you usually see in the sky or in the trees at one time?
Right. Not very
many. One or two. And they need a lot of room. They're very territorial, right? So they'll fight for what they want. They have no problem with conflict. They don't necessarily like conflict. Nobody usually likes conflict. But of all the personalities, your leader, your raptor, is the one that'll go for it. They'll just hit it head on, right?
Yep.
Your herons, if you think about a heron, they're those tall, skinny birds that you see by the river.
They're really cool.
Right? In the swamp. How many do you usually see together?
Solo uno one.
You got it. They're fishermen. If you think of fishing, how many people like to fish with somebody right next to them? They don't, right? They want the whole river. So herons are also solitary. I mean, they like a lot of room, but it's for a different reason. It's not because they're territorial. It's because they're solitary. Yeah. They need the quiet. They need to think. So they also will not usually have conflict. They will avoid conflict if they can. They will withdraw quietly. They won't work with you, or because they are driven by knowledge and education and learning. The other thing that they might do, if you put them in a spot where they feel that they're wrong, they will go out and do all the research, and they will come back and show you what a dumbass you are because you're wrong. Here's the facts. This is and so they're very detail minded. They're very research oriented, and they love education. Your songbirds, on the other hand, think about them. They come in, they fly, they talk, they chatter, they go, right? Yeah. So if there's a problem, typically, I mean, they will address conflict if they have to, but most of the time they like lighthearted. So they're going to dance around it. Yes. They're going to make a joke. They're going to deflect. They're going to change the conversation. Right. Because they don't like conflict either. But they aren't necessarily going to hit it head on. Now, the one thing you need to know about all of them, if you push any of them to what I call push them to raptor, which means you pushed them too far, you didn't listen, you didn't work with them, you didn't acknowledge them. A raptor, if you push them to raptor, they're going to shred you.
Yeah.
They're going to kill you. That's who they are, right? You push a heron to raptor, and like I said, they're either going to disappear or they're going to prove you wrong, and you're going to look so stupid. You push a songbird to raptor. What do songbirds do the most?
They chirp. They talk about it.
Yep, they talk. And what's the most active place to talk these days?
Well, online is a good. Well,
there you go.
That good as
yeah. They're going to be all over social media saying what a idiot you are.
Right.
And your dove, I've already talked about that. If you push a dove to raptor, they'll blow.
Right.
They'll say things that they should have said years ago. Months ago. They'll finally come out and just let it out. But the problem is they're so loving, they're so giving, that they instantly feel guilty.
Yeah.
Within minutes, they're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. And then they're right back into the same cycle of overgiving or being used or not standing up for themselves. It's hard.
That is
so it's
hard.
important. Yeah, it's important that we understand each of these beautiful personalities and what they bring to our life.
Right.
We need them all in our life The reason you need people in your life from each category is because they bring something unique. And that's why opposites also attract. So sometimes a heron who is a little detail minded, very serious, a little skeptical, is attracted to a songbird because they're lighter and funner and they have, this, and then they drive each other crazy.
Fact. Yes.
Right? Or a raptor is attracted to the dove because the dove is soft, and the dove might be attracted to the raptor because the raptor appears protective.
Right.
But then after a little while, if they're not each one involved in their own personal growth and their awareness of who they are and how they communicate, how they can bring out the best in others, that's where the conflict happens, and that's where the divides happen.
Sure. I can totally see that.
Yeah, they don't understand. So it is good to have all four in your life. However, it is good to have them when they are personally engaged in their own journey of learning to be their best.
Good examples. That really kind of put everything in perspective there. I mean, I already had an idea in my head with just experiencing the four birds.
Yeah.
That definitely helped put it in perspective. So feedback. What feedback have you gotten from folks when they read your book or dive into this particular kind of personality test?
The thing I love the most is that people will say, oh, I remember it. It's so easy.
Right.
I can walk into a room networking or look at my family or go to a party and I know who I'm working with. So then they feel like they can adjust their language a little bit easier to make a better connection. That is awesome. Yeah. One of my clients said, what I loved about your class was I realized that I'm one personality and both of my boys are opposite, different personalities from myself and from each other. And she'd been mothering them, of course, in her own personality.
Right.
And they're not that way. You can't tell a heron, if you're a raptor and your child is a heron, you can't say, we're leaving, let's go. It doesn't work. Their brain works very different than a raptor. And that's also explained in the book, how each personality thinks differently, linearly or all over the place or slower or faster. And so she said, this really helped me know how to better mentor my kids. And I think that's awesome because they are the future. We want them healthy. We want them happy. We want them to know who they are.
Right.
And love who they are. So all of that has been incredible feedback.
That's awesome. When did it come out again?
December. A year ago, December.
Oh, awesome.
It's been out for a year.
21?
21.
21. Uh-huh. Okay. Are you writing any more books? Are there going to be more books in the future, or are you focusing on this one and your businesses?
Well, this is the book that I will market for every entrepreneur, every HR professional, every business owner, because it really is the basics. And I may write another one that's a little deeper dive into how to deal with your triggers around different flocks and how to actually speak their language. That would be the next one. And in that book, I might also include the in-betweeners, because there are such birds that are a little bit of each. You're kind of like, where do they fit? I'll give you one quick example.
Sure.
There's what's called a northern shrike, and it's actually a songbird, probably, 8 inches high, 6, 8 inches. Anyway, it's not real big, but it grabs its prey like another little bird or something, and it sticks it on a stick and lets it die and then comes back to get it.
Gosh. Oh my
That
goodness.
is a songbird raptor. Big time.
God. That sounds like Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, it's really mean.
Yeah.
So, there are people out there like that. You get too close, you're going to get bit. You better watch out.
He's so positive, but he gets mad fast.
Exactly. So that might be the next book that I work on for entrepreneurs. Other than that, I have 2 personal books that I would like to write.
Awesome.
In my mind.
Yeah. Well, I know from experience working with several different authors and whatnot, all that you could do a separate book like you suggested, or you could even just make Are You My Flock, revision 2 and have all that stuff in there, because then it's the same information. It's just a deeper dive. And then it's still one book you're marketing. So
very good. Yep.
Which would be
second edition.
Yeah. Second edition. Boom. Here you go. And it goes deeper dive, which I think would be a really cool addition to what you already have without having to develop an extra cover and whatnot.
Right.
Maybe if you want to.
Good idea. Yeah. I love it.
It's not mine. I stole it.
It's good. Yeah. You like those ideas.
I like it. you obviously do more than just, being an author. That's definitely part of what you do. So what do you do besides writing books?
I am a retreat host, and
Okay.
that is, we do retreats to Alaska. I do retreats on the Oregon coast. I've done retreats in Calibra.
Okay.
And I love getting people away from their home environment so they can, number one, relax, think clearly, and then we can develop a better game plan that is all based on helping their mindset be in the right place, helping them with communication skills, helping them with their planning and their execution. So I love retreats. I am a personal coach. I also go into offices or conferences and I help them understand how to speak the language of their prospect, their teammate, their coworkers for
Nice.
better success.
How often are you doing the retreats?
Twice a year.
Twice a year? Awesome. Awesome. And where are you going this year?
The next retreat is in September, and it's called the Salmon Run. For anybody who wants to explore Alaska up close and personal, look at whales right outside the door of the boat, walk up a creek and have salmon swimming around your feet, and search for bears on the beach just to watch them walk.
I would love to go to Alaska. So what was the best money you've actually spent as an entrepreneur, or an author?
I would say the best money I've ever spent is on my own personal growth. Through a couple trainers that I met early on, that really were very influential in my growth and my ability to develop the skill of being able to talk with just about anybody, anywhere, and lead the conversation to a win-win result. Investing in yourself is always the best investment.
People always say, selflessness and selfishness is like you need to have a little bit of both, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else.
You can't fill a gas tank from an empty tank.
Yeah, pretty much. I've always used the oxygen mask with the airplane metaphor. That one's a big one for me.
Yep,
You can't take
absolutely.
care of your family, your friends, other people you've never met before if you are not doing well. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
It does not work. I think that's why I love retreats and coaching, because it really is that investment in yourself.
Do you have quite a bit of clients then for your coaching?
I have had clients for years.
Awesome.
I mean, in 42 years.
And it's personal coach. And what was the other one?
A business coach. I come in and help the team and help the staff, or as a guest speaker for conferences. So if you know that you have a group of people coming together for a business conference, a sales conference, I love being guest speaker, a keynote speaker, and helping them understand who they're talking to and how to get better yes results.
When you wrote Are You My Flock, what was your end goal in writing the book? Like, what did you hope it would do for your name?
I think that I, number one, just wanted to get the book out because people kept asking me for it, because I teach this class.
Oh, okay.
It's a 2 to 3 hour class that I teach a lot. And everybody said, do you have a book? Do you have a book? I'm like, oh, no, I'm sorry.
Well, up here.
Right. So I wanted to get it out so that people really had access to it that maybe couldn't come to a class or wouldn't come to a class. So that was my number one goal. And number two, it really does give you credibility when you have something that is in print that they can read or they can find online. So it was both. Number one, it was just that personal goal of doing something everybody kept asking me for. And second, just to say, oh, let me go ahead and do this and put my name on something in print.
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely solidifies you as a professional. Not that you weren't before, but if they look at two personal coaches and go, well, this personal coach doesn't have a book and this one does, I'm more inclined to lean this way to some person who's actually taken the time, energy, even their own money to put it out there for the public to read and digest and hopefully learn from. At the end of the day, just to surmise, what do you hope people will get from reading your book?
The desire to truly step back and understand who they're talking to, family, coworker, prospect, listen, and change their language to speak the language of the person that they're working with for a win-win relationship. That is my goal.
It's a beautiful goal. If someone's interested in learning which bird they are, where can they pick up a copy of your book?
They can easily find it on popmindset.com.
Okay.
It'll show up right on the front cover. You can also find it on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want a signed copy, contact me through popmindset.com and I'll get you a signed copy.
Yes, do that. Those are way better. Get those. Amazon won't do that for you.
No, they won't.
No, go to the authors directly. Go to the authors directly. Do you do any book sales at all locally in town, out and about in your own town?
Well, I haven't, because most of those listening to the podcast can't see, but I live off grid on 30,000 acres of woods in Southeast Alaska.
Oh, man.
And the only way to get to me is by float plane or boat. And there's only two of us out here, me and my buddy.
Wow.
So there's no book sales going on out here. If I put together a book tour, it would be, something we'd have to put together ahead of time. So right now, signed copy is what you get.
Hey, that's pretty good still. That's a lot of good content too. If they want to get a hold of you for, personal coach or business coach, I'm assuming popmindset.com as well.
Yes, or they can even email me at bj@popmindset.com.
Sweet. And I will put all that stuff in the comments for you guys if you want to hit her up and start picking her brain to help you guys learn to communicate better. Well, this has been really awesome, very eye-opening. I love the use of the birds, really do. I wasn't quite sure. I'm like, how's that going to work? But you explained it just beautifully. So thank you for that so much. Thank you for coming on, taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with me.
Well, thank you for reaching out. It was an honor, my honor to be sure, and it was a joy to be with you today. Thank you.
Well, and you are welcome, and thank you again. Well, that's it for us right now. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and go pick up a copy of Are You My Flock? All right, take care, guys. Are you an author? Do you know someone who is? If so, then message me, Ryan Oliver, at ryanmoliver.com to set up a free appointment to discuss being showcased on the Mighty Books podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the Mighty Books YouTube channel and share the link to this and more episodes with your friends and family. Thanks for listening. So long for now. Stay mighty and keep reading.